All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of TLDR Podcast. We're up to number 44. I don't know how we've been doing it this long, but we keep chugging along here. But as always, let's check in with the boys. Tradon, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I had a little too much fun this past weekend. You can see where I'm going with that. But now I'm watching the Oilers absolutely tear up the Jets. I'm loving it right now.
Ooh, okay, that's big news. Eric and I are down to not talk about hockey for a little bit, so we'll skip over that.
We'll get
James, my man, how's your Monday treating you? How's the week?
Monday's okay. Week was good. Weekend was fun. I was hanging out with Tradon, Kylie, and our buddy Jose visiting from up north. But Tradon drank a lot of stuff. And I dropped him off at his car, but Kylie drove, but I just dropped him off. The dude had to expel some of that stuff, right? Mm. And he expelled it so hard that the neighbors in the house that he was expelling at came out to go check on him because it was so loud and obnoxious and violent.
Mm. It was.
Mm. Hey, but it was overall a good day. The next day, I woke up at like 5 a.m. to go golf. Like, it's a good time.
Okay. Tradon, I hope you're feeling better.
I'm feeling
on that same note, Tyler, remember that time where we played Wizard Staff and then you threw up red velvet cupcakes everywhere?
I do.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Fun fact, if you eat red velvet anything and then have a lot of alcohol later and you puke it up later, it's bright red. Which is a fun fact.
No. Did you go to the hospital because you were like, oh my God?
I thought for a second I was dying. Yeah. I thought for a second I was dying, but then I realized I had the red velvet cupcakes before and I was like, okay, that's gotta be why. So it's all good. But yeah.
And then remind me, did you want to throw your staff of beer cans across the balcony to another balcony?
Yeah, I thought the other balcony wanted to participate in our Wizard staff, and I wanted to enjoy the whole apartment complex and our fun games. So I figured the best way to do that was just to throw the whole thing at them.
Were they bottles?
No, cans.
Or cans.
Bottles.
No. But did it make it over? I want to know.
No, because Alex was the no fun police, and he convinced me not to do it.
No, we didn't even know those people, so I feel like it was a good idea.
What a great way to introduce yourself.
That's a good point.
Hey, here's some cans. Yeah. Here's some trash.
Here's some trash. Come have fun.
Go recycle it for 25 cents. Come on.
Oh, man. Speaking of trash, Eric, our fantasy hockey teams just garbage. All
right, here we go.
Yeah, go for it.
Fucking Tyler.
Yes.
We're gonna boot him out of being commissioner of this league. It's a 2-0 vote. Me and Alex versus you, and you're out. It's over. You're done. And second off, I'm blaming the NHL actually this year for making their layout how it is with the whole divisions and everything and shortened games. It's complete bullshit. With the goalie situation, me and Alex both got fucked over. Literally at 5:55, it's telling me Martin Jones is playing, and I have him fucking set to play. I don't play the Blackhawks, Lakeinen or whatever, who has 78 points on the bench that night. That's one thing. Second thing, COVID. Thatcher Demko, my starting goalie, got me like 80 to 90 points every fucking time he played, out for like months with COVID because the whole Canucks team got a fucking just infected. Elias Pettersson injured, COVID, everybody's fucked. All the divisions are fucked. Fucking Canada. What the fuck, Canada? Fucking Tyler, terrible commissioner. I've won 12 weeks in a row, and I lose first fucking week. What the fuck? But I'm doing all right, other than that.
I think that might be a record for most F-bombs in one rant we've had so far on the pod.
It's pretty definitely.
Yeah. So Tradon
can way to like think. I just was saying that word.
Yeah, no, I get it. Tradon can get into it more when we get to the hockey segment. But we're gonna get right into it. Eric's gonna lead us off this week with a little rivalry talk. We had some rivalry games last week in baseball. We got some, rivalry games coming up. So Eric, take it away.
Thanks, Alex. We're gonna get right into it, and of course, I have the layout with James being our football guy. I'm going to start with him. My first question is, what are the best and worst rivalries in football in your eyes, James? I have some listed down too, but I want to hear like your best and worst team rivalries.
I'm going to kind of take it from a current perspective, something like in the last 10 to 15 years, keep it kind of fresh. Because rivalries in football, they last a long time. And there's some really historic and ancient ones that people all know and love, but they're not so much rivalries anymore. My personal favorite for the current here and now is the Niners and the Seahawks. Not just because I'm a Niners fan, but like honestly, those games, Niners and Seahawks, when they go at it, they're fun to watch. I'm sure you guys all remember the NFC Championship game a couple years back when Richard Sherman was covering Michael Crabtree, and for that touchdown, almost had it, but Richard Sherman's just too good. And apparently, when he comes out, he's like, "If you throw a sorry ass receiver like Michael Crabtree at me, I win every time." And it's stuff like that. And then even 2 years ago, it was a race for the number 1 seed, the NFC, and since they're both in the NFC West, it's like the number 1 seed will take that number 1, the winner takes the number 1, and the loser will take the number 5 seed. So that's huge because home field advantage. And the game ended with a tackle on the 1 yard line. And that's how the game ended. That is intense, super clutch, fun football to watch. So my personal favorite right now is the Niners and Seahawks rivalry.
Yeah, I had Niners and Seahawks listed. I also have Rams Seahawks just from the past few years. I don't think it's as intense as that Niners Seahawks playoff rivalry, but Rams beating them last year in the playoffs, a couple games before the Seahawks pretty much destroyed the Rams. And they were, smoking cigars like they won the division, and they're acting all cocky about it. And of course, we saw a couple weeks later the Rams go in and their defense just shuts down the Seahawks. I even have Rams Niners. Maybe it's a little NFC West bias. Last year, last year for some reason Rams couldn't even beat the fucking Niners. For some fucking reason. Well, probably because Jared Goff is just terrible and he's not there anymore. Thank God. I have Patriots Steelers, a little bit more of a recent one. I guess we didn't really, now that Tom Brady's gone, that's kind of done with, but they've been like two of those top teams in the AFC in the past. I have one little one from growing up, Raiders and Chargers. Both of them now are, I guess, getting better, but yeah, like growing up, I remember when the Raiders were somewhat good and they went to the Super Bowl that 1 year versus the Bucks. That's when the Chargers had Drew Brees and they were on the uprise, and then the Raiders became terrible. But they would always have good games with the Chargers. What would you say is your worst rivalry currently right now, James?
Chiefs and Raiders, hands down. It's a self-proclaimed rivalry by the Raiders. The Raiders have won one game against the Chiefs the last couple of years. That was last year. For it to be a rivalry, you have to have more competitive games. And they won one, and it was a close game. But other than that, the Chiefs have just been blowing them out consistently. Not a rivalry at all. I have no idea why the Raiders think they're good enough to even call it rivalry. But that's what it is. And I think that's the worst rivalry out there.
Yeah, I have that written down. And I also have Lions-Vikings. It's kind of like similar, like the Lions claim that they hate the Vikings so much. It's like, dude, you guys aren't even allowed to hate anybody how bad you are. It's just like what you basically said, but with another division. Player-wise, I have Crabtree and Sherman. I have a Brett Favre when he was on the Packers forever, and then he went to the Vikings. I feel like the Packers fans didn't really hate on him for doing that, but it was kind of weird, going from like that team that basically they hate each other and have hated each other forever. I also have the whole NFC East versus T.O. I feel like they all hated him.
Everybody, yeah, for sure.
Tyler, would you say you hated on T.O. when he was on the Cowboys?
Yeah, I didn't. When T.O. was kind of around, I wasn't really into football back then, so I don't really remember those days quite as much. Like, I didn't really get into football, probably like really get into it to like high school. So it was kind of like after those heydays. So I don't really remember that very well, but I'm sure if I was a bigger fan, then that would be a huge one for sure.
Yeah, you would have hated him.
Yeah.
So we kind of got into this, like, what are some new and interesting rivalries, James, that you've seen in the NFL?
I mean, okay, so this is on.
Could be players and teams.
I'm just gonna do teams,
All
but
right.
right now I have the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Texans. Mainly because you have two young budding superstars on those teams. Patrick Mahomes is a superstar. Lamar Jackson is a generational superstar in his own right. And if Deshaun Watson gets through his court cases, he's also a generational quarterback. The fact of the matter is, like, these guys are all good and can carry their teams. They're explosive. They're fun to watch. They're going to face off time and time again. I mean, Chiefs, Ravens, we see that often. We would love watching those games. It's two different styles of offenses, two different styles of quarterbacks, but still a great game to watch, always competitive.
Yeah. So you're telling me what's his name? Deshaun Watson versus massage therapist is one of the newest rivalries. No,
It
that's
might be,
fucked
man.
up. Yeah, I have Browns versus Steelers actually.
That's a good one.
I think it all started when I don't even know the guy's name, even though he's like their superstar defensive lineman, when he smashed the guy. Yes, and he took the helmet off the
Mason Rudolph.
Yes, and he smashed him in the head. And like a meaningless game basically for both teams, and smashed him in the head with his own helmet. That's what started off. And then last year, the whole Juju Smith-Schuster doing his trash little fucking dance on the Browns logo in the playoffs. And then the Browns end up molly-whopping him. And then they all start saying a bunch of shit back to him. It's like, it's created a good little rivalry. And plus, fuck the Steelers. And then I got, player-wise, I got Tom Brady versus Mahomes. Seems to be a good little rivalry. I don't think like
I don't know if
they
that's
think
gonna
of it.
last very long, bro.
Yeah, I know. I don't think they think of it either. I think people like me just like try to project it. But, you know, when Tom Brady was on the Patriots and they won in overtime versus the Chiefs that one year to go to the Super Bowl, and then you see last year they play each other in the Super Bowl, and we all saw what happened. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for football. Let's get into baseball, and then everyone can chime in too. Alex, I know you have a lot of baseball knowledge too. Tyler, I'm going to kind of hit you with the same questions since you are a baseball guy. What's your best and worst rivalries of baseball?
So historically, the best rivalry hands down in baseball is Red Sox Yankees. I mean, you can't really beat that. The history behind that, the amount of heated confrontations those two teams have had, the history, all the postseason games in series that they played against each other. Red Sox Yankees hands down is the best rivalry historically in baseball. Dodgers Giants I think is right there behind them. They don't have as much postseason history as Red Sox Yankees, so I think that's kind of why the Red Sox Yankees I think are a little bit higher. I think when two teams that hate each other play each other when it matters in the postseason, that's when it really gets good. And the Red Sox Yankees just have so many of them, and it's so hard to beat that. The Dodgers and Giants never really seem to both be really good at the same time. Like maybe one year and they kind of battle for a division. That's kind of it. But they never really played a meaningful postseason series. Certainly not in my lifetime. But currently, I mean, right now in 2021, Dodgers Padres. I mean, we're going to get into it a little bit later. Historically, those two teams haven't had much, but right now, I think what makes rivalries good are two teams that have beef with each other on both sides, that are competitive and that are trying to win, and are at the top of their game, and they're playing for the same division, and they're playing for the same prize. So currently it's Dodgers Padres, but historically Red Sox Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just answered like 7 questions in one, which is good. That's nice and efficient. I like it.
Yep.
I have Dodgers, Giants, Yankees, Red Sox. I even have Angels, Dodgers. I mean, you can call it a rivalry. You can call it like the Kings, Ducks, but we're not in the same division and all that, or even in the same. You guys are national, we're American, but you can call it a rivalry because the whole free, huh?
So it's not even the same level of play.
I know. It's
that
not
one's
yet.
hard. That one's
yet.
hard just because, like as you mentioned, they're not even in the same league. So the games they play each other don't mean a whole lot in terms of standings and stuff. It's more just for fans' bragging rights, I think, more than anything else, which is still fun, and I think that's a good thing for the fans. But I think for the teams and kind of what it means, it doesn't really mean much. So I think that's why it's hard to kind of label that as a rivalry.
Series matchup.
Yeah, unless it's the World Series, then that'd be awesome. But that's never happened.
I believe they play this weekend, so we'll get our bet wagers going.
Guys, May 8th.
May 8th. Be there.
Yeah. So player wise, I have from what I remember, remember when Pedro Martinez just chucked that Yankees manager on the ground? Like
they said, Red Sox Yankees.
Red Sox Yankees. It's
one of many great moments.
It's crazy how many times they've literally like just battled each other in the playoffs and had a bunch of shit like that happen. Yeah. I have Machado versus the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But like you said, that's tackling the new and interesting, which I would say is Padres Dodgers could be like one of the most interesting rivalries that has begun probably since like last year when the Padres finally started doing all right. Tatis versus Bauer is already like picked up to a new rivalry.
I was going to say that one's probably the best current one. I mean, Trevor Bauer versus anyone really. He loves to go after everybody. So, Bauer Tatis will be a really fun one.
I got Angels Astros as well as Dodgers Astros. I mean, Dodgers Astros because of the whole World Series and the cheating and all that shit, and then Angels Astros because they are in the same division and they always seem to battle each other. I feel like we've traded a bunch of guys to their team that are now doing good, so another reason for us to hate them. And that's pretty much what I got for baseball, Tyler. You pretty much tackled it all right there. I put old and boring Phillies just because they're just old and boring. Fuck them.
Just all the Phillies matches
just all the team the Phillies ever play. It's just a boring game.
They're kind of a boring team.
Yeah. See?
There you go.
Alex, you got anything to chime in with baseball-wise?
Cubs Cardinals. That's a historic one.
That's a good one.
Typically the Cardinals have been pretty good, and the Cubs have won World Series in the last 120 years. So Cubs Cardinals is always a good one. Like Eric Gagne, Barry Bonds as like a player matchup, just power, like roids, 2003. That's a good one. I thought of. But yeah, nice. I mean, right now, Dodgers Padres. I mean, it's the best. Right now, for sure.
Yasiel Puig versus Madison
Bumgarner.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
That was a good one.
Who would win in that fight?
That's one a lot of people have. We debated this a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I feel like Puig definitely has more of the physicality, and he's just crazy. But I think Bumgarner might have a little more tactical, like IQ.
He's country boy,
dude.
Yeah,
he's strong. A farm. Exactly, you got that farm worker strength.
I think pre-injury, I might give it to Bumgarner. Post like shoulder issues, it's gotta be Puig.
Yeah, I think I'll give the slight edge to Puig, but I'm a little biased.
It's like a matador with a bowl, like
pretty much, yeah.
Nice. That's some good stuff right there. Let's get into hockey. Tradon. Hockey just seems to be like, you hate every team that's not your own on the ice, and it's just great because they just let them fight, So I feel like they all have a good amount of respect for each other. But right off the bat, I'm getting into the bet. What are your best rivalries of hockey?
Yeah, so I got to start with the obvious one because I think it's kind of had been reborn in the last couple of years, and that's the Battle of Alberta. Mostly and I'm so fired up about that, obviously. Back in 1980 when Atlanta moved the team to Calgary, that's when the rivalry, started. And in that time, Gretzky was, in the 80s, Gretzky was part of the Oilers, and they won, many cups there. And Calgary was, close behind, and they were both very, very good in that era. And those are bloody rivalries. And we saw it last year. February 1st last year, we saw a goalie fight and like 10 goals in a game. Like it was something that I never saw as a kid. But it's something my dad saw. So we got to experience that together in this day and age, which was unbelievable. It felt like it was old school hockey. And that's still continuing, even though Calgary is not that great. There's still some good skill on both ends. And I think that's going to be, as long as Calgary at least stays in there, that's going to be a strong one. I mean, any rivalry that has to do with the original six, you can mix and match any of the original six, and you're gonna have a decent rivalry. But the biggest one by far is Montreal versus Boston. Montreal versus Boston is basically the Red Sox Yankees.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah,
it's the oldest rivalry in the NHL. They've faced each other 927 times over 100 years. 11 full 82 game seasons between the two of them. 29 Stanley Cups between the two of them, which is roughly 29 or 25% of all the cups ever won. And they just absolutely hate each other. So you add in this fact that they're one of the original six teams, right? So they're playing each other back in the day. They're playing each other, night in, night out. And then there's also not only is there a team kind of loyalty thing, but there's also a country loyalty thing, Canada versus USA, which, has always been such a heated rivalry, which leads me to probably the biggest current hockey, and not just NHL, but hockey rivalry. And that's actually US versus Canada in the women's league. Though there has not been any other country between the, outside of those two that have won an Olympic gold medal, any world championship, anything. There's even exhibition rivalry series just for those two teams, just so they can face each other 5 times and beat each other up in any way that they can. And those girls are incredible. Those women are absolutely incredible. So that is probably the hottest rivalry in the hockey world. And then I guess I got to give a shout out to back in the 90s, early 2000s, the Red Wings versus Colorado. That was when they were in the same division. Those two teams just absolutely hated each other. And I lived in Montana. In Montana, everyone loved the Red Wings the Avalanche, because they were the closest there. And all you heard was, fuck the Red Wings, fuck the Red Wings. That's all it was when I was growing up. And, I'm an Oilers fan, so it really didn't, it really didn't matter to me. But that was considered probably the biggest rivalry, up until, recent times, which, recent rivalries, there's not as much anymore, just because the fighting's kind of gone away, the game's kind of changing. But you always have, Battle of Alberta, you always have the original 6 battles, and I guess Washington and Pittsburgh is kind of a forced one. I'm kind of tired of that one, but it is what it is.
I got I got to throw in our Kings bias. Kings Sharks was once a good rivalry with the playoff battles for sure. Kings Ducks has been more of like a refurbished rivalry. Definitely. Because they're both just so terrible now. So it's like every time they play each other, they're like, it's on right now as we speak.
But until recently, they were very good. They were, like all the Canadian teams before, last couple of years were all good. And those 3 teams have just hated each other this whole time. You know?
Yeah, Kings, Ducks, Kings and Sharks. And then even like Sharks and Ducks, they have a little bit of a rivalry. They were like more in the past. They played each other in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I got Kings Blackhawks when both of them were kind of on their runs. They didn't like each other. They beat us one year in the playoffs and won the cup. Next year we beat them in the playoffs and won the cup. I got your Canadians, Bruins, Oilers, Flames. I'd say, like kind of now the worst rivalries are the ones that are just old and boring now is like Penguins, Capitals seems to be kind of old. Penguins, Flyers, that seems to be an older one that you don't really hear about anymore.
The ones that I probably hate the most, to be honest, and thank God, because NBC is no longer going to be doing our games, at least allegedly. NBC really forces rivalries, and rivalries, as you guys can agree, in any of these sports, they can't be forced. They have to be organic. And when they're shoved down our throats, it gets so old, and the teams just aren't into it. They're not into it enough for it to be an actual rivalry. Until we actually see blood on the ice, there's not a rivalry.
Well, that's like almost every night in hockey. So I guess there's rivalry every night. Tradon.
Not anymore. It's actually kind of sad.
Like you said, they have like Wednesday night rivalry, the night you love to hate or something like that. But we won't be seeing that once ESPN comes in the mix. I have player wise, like I have Crosby versus Ovechkin. People always try to like make that a rivalry. I'd probably rather take Ovechkin because he would just beat the hell out of him probably.
Yeah.
But Crosby seems to be more talented, makes his team better, where Ovechkin just scores a lot and
I agree.
Just a horse. Cassian versus Kachuk, that kind of was something that came up last year.
Yeah.
Two bums I wouldn't want ever on my team.
I think there's a bit of a rivalry with Kachuk and Doughty. That's clear.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to next. Doughty and Kachuk. So everybody hates Kachuk. Fuck them. We all know that. Everybody loves Doughty. End of story.
Ryan Reeves versus Evander Kane is hysterical.
I want to see Evander Kane fight him again. I feel like Evander Kane has that.
Kane would not be stupid enough to do that because Ryan Reeves would knock his teeth in.
I want to see Reeves get knocked on the ice, like just punched out. I want like Lucic to grab him. I don't think he would ever do that though. But the way the NHL formatted this year, that we're not going to see that. So thanks NHL, you fucks. The last thing I'll say, new and interesting series rivalries of hockey. I got Bruins Rangers. That kind of happened this year, but because of the whole division shit. Kings Vegas, because they swept us in the playoffs, and we need to play them again in the playoffs one day, redeem ourselves. Sharks Vegas has been a good one.
Yes, that's the Ryan
seems
Reeves,
to be one of the newer, better ones.
Yeah.
And then I guess even you could say this year, we'll see it in the playoffs if it happens. Wild versus Vegas. The Wild have that little spark. They're actually, I think, like 3-1 or like 4-1 versus Vegas. They've like had their number this whole year, so it'd be interesting to see them in the playoffs. I don't know if you got any more Tradon or Alex or anybody.
I mean, you kind of hit them all. While I don't want it to be forced, I hope that Vancouver can get a regional rivalry in Seattle. They'll face each other 4 to 5 times a year, and I hope that both teams are good enough for it can actually be an organic battle for the Pacific Northwest. Other than that, that's all I got.
Nice. Yeah, tackled all the ones that I was expecting to tackle. Last but not least, Alex, we got the NBA. Seems to be lots of historical rivalries and new ones. But what are your best and worst rivalries?
Yeah, so 3 best off the top of my head, or not, well, I mean, like that I can think of. Watching The Last Dance, Bulls Pistons for sure. Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas. That was a different time in the NBA. I mean, they literally beat the shit out of each other on the court. Like you couldn't get away with that in today's NBA in a heartbeat. So Bulls Pistons for sure. Then a little more recent, Lakers, Spurs, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Kobe, Shaq. Those were like growing up. I mean, they seemed like they met in the playoffs all the time. They were both really good all the time. Tim Duncan's got 5 championships. Kobe's got 5. Those were big ones. And then, historically, the most historic one is obviously Lakers Celtics. They've played in the finals against each other the most out of any 2 teams in any sport ever. They both are now tied with 17 championships apiece. The Lakers have won a lot more recently. The Celtics, went on an incredible run with Bill Russell. So Lakers Celtics, player-wise, I mean, kind of LeBron, Steph, like a recent one, except the NBA now they're so like buddy that it's kind of hard to call it a rivalry, but they play, when they play, 5 times or 4 or 5 times, whatever it is in a row. LeBron, Steph, the worst one, Eric, close your ears. Lakers, Clippers. It's tough. Sorry, Clippers fans, but like, you haven't done shit, so you can't really be a rival of the Lakers. It's more of like the last 2 years only, but they haven't played each other in the playoffs yet. The Clippers have unfortunately like nothing to their name in the side of history, where the Lakers are one of the 2 most historic franchises in the league. So we haven't really said worst much, but that one to me is hands down the worst.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The Clippers have nothing to prove. They have 0 championships, 0 Western Conference Finals. I saw like a stat. I'm trying to find it right now because you sparked me. But in the last like 5 years, the Clippers have beaten the Lakers. I think the Lakers have only beat the Clippers like 5 times or something. And since like the Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan era, when the Lakers, in Kobe's last few years and all that. So I would say just more of recently, as far as just like the rivalry of them playing each other, the Clippers have had their number. But as far as, doing it in the playoffs, the Clippers just don't have that in them yet, hopefully. But yeah, the Lakers, Celtics, all the Bulls, Pistons, I have all those. I got 76ers, Celtics has seemed to be more of a recent one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The Celtics have just beaten them down. I feel like this year, if they see each other, it's kind of going to be different. 76ers finally got some life. Player-wise, historically speaking, like Magic versus Bird, Michael Jordan and the original Isaiah Thomas. I have now a recent Paul George and Devin Booker kind of seem to like butt heads with each other.
Paul George and Dame.
Yeah, too. And I was just going to say everybody versus Paul George. I feel like a lot of people go at Paul George because he also is another guy that hasn't really proved it in the playoffs, So he's an easy target to go at. Chris Paul and Rondo, we kind of remember that whole baffle. I know that they still kind of, beef when they play each other. Team-wise, new and interesting, but also could be the worst is Clippers-Lakers. Suns Jazz is this year a little bit more of an interesting, seems to be kind of a rivalry forming because it's like they're the 1 and 2 seeds and they play each other a good amount. They're not far from each other. They match up pretty well. Clippers Jazz, the Jazz have had the Clippers number since they took them out in the playoffs like 4 years ago. That was like Chris Paul's last year there. Knicks and Nets seem to have a little bit of a rivalry going right now. I think with the Knicks just finally like not being complete dog shit and becoming a better team. They're giving the Nets some good battles.
Ron Artest versus fans in the stands.
Yeah, versus everybody in the NBA.
Versus Meta World Peace, bro.
Well, he was Ron Artest then. Okay,
before.
The player formerly known as Ron Artest, now Meta World Peace, versus anyone that's not on his team or fans.
Yeah, basically. This isn't really a rivalry, but Lakers-Pelicans last year because Anthony Davis got traded for like 5 guys that were all there on the Lakers. So I feel like those guys were all, butthurt about it, Lonzo and Ingram and all them. But it's their fault. They didn't do shit when they were there, so they got traded. I guess one other one you can mention, but it's kind of old and boring now, is the Thunder versus Trailblazers, which was the origination of the Paul George versus Dame rivalry. James, you got any other basketball ones?
Just an old, like the Bulls and the Jazz back in the day. John Stockton, Karl Malone, Michael Jordan. That was some good basketball. This is like a long shot, but I think one that's budding and will be one in the future will be the Hornets and the Pelicans. LaMelo versus Zion, 2 young guns. They're both kind of leading their teams on a good start, especially with the Hornets right now. Like LaMelo is injured, but he's going to get better. He looks good. So in the future, in the next 10 years or so, I'd look out for that rivalry.
Yeah, and then the last one we got to mention is what Alex was talking. The Warriors versus LeBron, just because they kind of seem to have his number, in the finals. I mean, what did they beat him 2 or 3 times? Even though he did have that historic comeback series versus them. But, yeah, the NBA is always playing tummy sticks with it, trying to make it look like they're boys and all this shit. But, that's just the difference of all the leagues around. But that's why we have sports. That's why we have rivalries, and that is all I got for this segment, guys.
That was fun. I mean, rivalries are great. We all love them, obviously. When we come back, we're going to talk more rivalries with Tyler starting off. We're into week 3, 4, whatever week we are into baseball. We'll be right back. All right, boys and girls, we are back. Tyler, take us through week 3, up through week 3 of baseball, hot storylines, oh, damn moments, whatever you call them. Go for it.
Damn moments. It's kind of the last 2 weeks because I hosted last week, so I didn't have one of these segments. So we're going to go through 4 of the biggest oh damn moments baseball's had to offer. We're getting towards the end of the first month here. So things are starting to heat up and kind of, get going. So I want to lead off. We just talked about rivalries. So we're going to talk about the Dodgers and the Padres. As I mentioned earlier, I think hands down the best rivalry in sports to watch right now. They just had their 2 back-to-back weekend series. The first one in San Diego. Dodgers took 2 of 3 in San Diego. Then the series shifted to Los Angeles, and the Padres took 3 of 4 this weekend from the Dodgers. That late inning comeback last night, that one hurt a little bit. So quite incredible. For Fernando Tatis, 5 home runs in the series. Quite a statement there by Tatis and the Padres. So if this was a 7-game series, San Diego would have won it in 7 on that 7th game. But that's what you want. I thought it was a phenomenal start to this rivalry. So Alex, I just want to know, like, kind of your favorite moment or moments from the first 7 games, and then ultimately at the end of the season, who do you think is going to win this regular season matchup?
Okay, so from the first series, it's got to be Mookie Betts' game-saving catch in Game 2. It was something like a 10% catch probability. You don't really see walk-off catches very often. It's not, usually it's like, oh, it's a, pop fly to center, game's over. But no, 10% catch probability, Mookie Betts sealing the win for the Dodgers there. As a fan of baseball, having Fernando Tatis healthy and playing at an extremely high level is super exciting to see. Not the greatest when it's against your favorite team, but yeah, 5 homers in a 3-game span. That's pretty amazing. He looks healthy. We've talked about it off air. I was real worried about it. You don't usually come back from a dislocated shoulder and just be sort of fine. So Tatis going off, Dodgers fans booing Manny Machado is super funny. It is interesting because Machado never hustled for the, granted, like 3 months he played for the Dodgers, and then all of a sudden he's like hustles all the time for the Padres. Yeah. It's the greatest rivalry in sports right now. What I think is going to happen is the Padres are going to win the season series. Yeah, but they'll still be 10 games back from the Dodgers, obviously, because I want James's money. But I think every single one of these games has been super close. The Dodgers starting pitching seems to be a little bit better. Their bullpen's a little iffy right now. The Padres offense is, I would say, almost better than advertised. They have 2, MVP caliber players. Hosmer's looking good. Cronenworth's looking good. All these guys. So it's gonna be great. But James will be giving me money by the end of the season.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I would say the only thing I kind of missed, not having Cody Bellinger in there. I think missing him, that star power, doesn't make it quite as exciting. But nonetheless. 7 amazing games. Unfortunately, I think the next time they play is in either late June or July.
It's a while.
So it kind of sucks. Like I wish we had these every single weekend.
Oh, I have another one. I just forgot. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Trevor Bauer, Fernando Tatis thing.
Yes.
On both sides is phenomenal.
That's great.
Tatis hits a bomb, covers his eye going around first base because that's what Trevor Bauer is doing. Mm-hmm. And, think what you want of Trevor Bauer, but his response was perfect. Like, no, I love it. He hit a bomb off me. He should celebrate. Just like if I'm going to strike him out, I'm going to celebrate. I think, we talked about it in the rivalry section. Eric brought it up. But that is like, they're probably the 2 most fun players you want to watch pitch and hit against each other right now.
Absolutely. I think that Trevor Bauer for now Tatis is going to be phenomenal. They're both very outspoken and very just, they are who they are, and they don't give a fuck about what everyone else thinks, and it makes for great baseball because, Trevor Bauer is arguably probably the best starting pitcher on the Dodgers right now, and Fernando Tatis, the best hitter on the Padres. So when those 2 guys are clashing and they're both just these outspoken, just like characteristic guys, it's absolutely amazing baseball, great entertainment. So I totally agree with that. So looking forward to the remaining 4 series we have left with these teams, and we'll see what happens. So moving on to my second oh damn moment. This actually happened yesterday. Madison Bumgarner threw a no hitter. He with this new rule in MLB the last couple of years, if there's a double header, the games are predetermined to be 7 innings to kind of help speed things up a little bit. So they're not, full 9-inning games, of course. So in the second game of the doubleheader against the Atlanta Braves, Diamondbacks pitcher Madison Bumgarner threw 7 innings of no-hit baseball. So he technically got a no-hitter. However, officially, it does not count as a no-hitter, according to MLB statistics. It's officially defined in MLB statistics as a no-hitter. As it says, a pitcher has to throw at least 9 innings without giving up a hit. So the 9 innings is in the rule to count that officially as a no-hitter. So it won't go down in history as a no-hitter. But it kind of brings up an interesting debate, an interesting topic, especially since these games are predetermined to be 7 innings. Should they count as no-hitters? James, I want to get your take. Should this count as an official no-hitter?
Absolutely not. Definitely not. I got Tradon there big time. I was going to bring up the entire rule thing. I looked it up and I have it in my notes and quotes and everything, but you just did that for me.
You're welcome.
My biggest point against this is that there have been plenty of pitchers who have played for 9 innings and not given up a hit, yet they were not credited with a no-hitter. So for a pitcher to do the same thing, then be given a no-hitter is unfair. Mad Bum threw 98 pitches through 7 innings. So let's extrapolate that, right? And if you divide those 7 innings with 98 pitches, it comes out to 14 pitches per inning. So if he's at that rate, which is a pretty good rate, because technically you want about 15 pitches per inning. If he was to keep up that rate at 14 per inning, he'd end up with 126 pitches at the end of the game, which is really high. Most pitches cap it at 100. It's kind of rare for a pitch to go over 100 these days. Mad Bum hasn't gone over 100 pitches in 2 years. To expect him to do 9 innings, 126 pitches in a perfect world right now wouldn't happen. He should not be credited with this no-hitter. He played great. Cool. 7 innings, 98 pitches worth. Not a no-hitter.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, the no-hitter in baseball is such a rare and amazing achievement. And to kind of, account that for when it's not the full 9, it's not the same. I'm surprised there's a lot of people that are for counting it as a no-hitter on Twitter, and like a lot of like baseball writers are like, why doesn't this count? And I'm kind of surprised by that because baseball tends to be filled with a lot of people that are very old school and very traditional. So the fact there's a lot of opinions going the opposite direction was very interesting to me. But I agree with you 100%. No-hitter is 9 innings. That's just how it works. I couldn't tell you how many times a no-hitter has been broken up in the 7th or 8th inning. It's just you got to go the full 9 to really make it count. It's one of the most special things in sports to accomplish. We've had 2 this year so far. So I agree. I agree with you, James. I don't think it should count. Does anyone disagree and think they should, or is everyone on the same page pretty much? All right, cool. Awesome. Moving on to my third oh damn moment. The Oakland A's, after a 1-7 start, have won 13 in a row. That streak did get snapped yesterday against the Baltimore Orioles. So quite a crazy roller coaster of a season so far there for Oakland. Brought back, memories of the Moneyball A's when they won, I think it was 23 or 22 straight games, which is still an MLB record. So a lot of people were thinking, is this going to be the sequel to that? Didn't happen. Kind of capped at 13, but still a very, very impressive win streak. And then kind of looking at the AL West standings early here, it's pretty interesting. A lot of us had kind of the Angels and the Astros. I think most of us as a collective kind of being the top 2 dogs in that division. The Oakland A's, who I picked, obviously went on that 13-game winning streak, and now they're sitting up there in first place. The surprise team that is in the mix right now is the Seattle Mariners. They're sitting 1.5 games back. They've been playing really good baseball. Obviously, still very, very early. And the Angels are sitting in 3rd, and the Astros right there in 4th. The Astros got to a super, super great start and have not looked great since. Like I said, long season. But looking at it, kind of we're nearing the end of the first month of the year. Eric, I want to ask you, do you see this division as a 4-team race of those 4 teams that I just mentioned?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. It's going to be a 4-team race, unfortunately, because the Angels are in that division. I think Mariners, they started out pretty hot. I think it's going to be beginner's luck for them. They've done this in the past. They have like a good start and they kind of fade away. Rangers they fucking, of course, beat the Angels a few times, but their pitching seems to be complete dog shit. So I don't think they'll be one of the 4 teams. Angels are going to have to cling on to dear life, I feel like, with their pitching. Their pitching is it just fluctuates way too much for me to be comfortable. But yeah, unfortunately, the Oakland A's and the Astros ain't going nowhere. The A's have now won 13 in a row, like you just said. I got some stats because we're all big stat guys and big fact checkers. Pitcher Cole Irvin, he's from Anaheim, California, everybody. He had a 6.75 ERA with the Phillies in the 2019-20 season. And then now he goes to the Oakland A's, 3.86 ERA. You know what I've noticed with the Oakland A's? I feel like they pick up a lot of guys who are talented enough. They end up just working super hard when they get to Oakland and they prove themselves and they just make them a better team. Like, for instance, that guy right there, Cole Irvin. Another guy, Yusmeiro Petit. He was a pitcher for the Angels, did horrendous with us. We traded him to the Oakland A's. And during this 13-win streak, only 1 run allowed in 10 innings in his last 9 appearances. So he's starting to get hot. And then you look at Matt Olson, he's batting .441. So a lot of their guys are just contributing. And a lot of guys go there and they end up becoming like that hard blue collar worker style. And they just have a good team. So I think we got 4 teams now in the race there. I think the Mariners are going to fade out. I think the Angels are going to cling on for dear life. And I think the Astros and A's are going to be dominating, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's all 4 of these teams are really confusing so far this season. I think a lot of teams, they're very inconsistent. Can't really figure them out yet, but I think that's just kind of the nature of the young season. And I think come, around All-Star break, we'll kind of have a better idea of what this division is going to look like. But definitely the surprise there with the Mariners. A little surprised the Astros are kind of not doing as well. And the Angels, I think got off to a pretty good start. They've kind of come back down a little bit. But I still think that, like I said, I think they're going to be hanging around. I think they're going to be in the conversation most of the season. Whether or not they can actually make that leap to a postseason team, I'm not so sure. But I think they'll definitely be in the conversation. So very interesting the vision there.
James, what's on your mind? I feel like James has something he's disagreeing with here.
I was just looking at the Mariners' schedule. They haven't played the best teams. The best team they played is obviously the Dodgers, and they beat the Dodgers 1 time, I believe, in that series. Mm-hmm. But the teams that they played for the most part are the Orioles and the Red Sox. The Orioles had a 0% chance to make the postseason coming into the season. The Orioles beat the Red Sox. The Mariners beat both the Orioles and the Red Sox. And that in and of itself is like 12 games. The Mariners are off to a hot start now. It's going to fade once they've faced tougher competition. Rather than the Dodgers, they haven't faced anybody else of notice, like that should be good. Yeah, and like the Astros that had COVID stuff, like Altuve was starting off the year great. He got sent down because of COVID. And I mean, that's a pretty big hit to your team, as the Dodgers could tell when Cody Bellinger went out. When somebody of that stature, who's that good, who's a leader on a team, gets knocked out for a couple of days, it takes a toll. The Astros are going to be better than what they seem now. I think it's still going to come down to just the two teams being the Angels and the Astros. The A's had great momentum, but when their momentum fades, I want to see them get back on that winning streak. They lost to the Orioles today. What does that tell you? I mean, we'll see if they can get back on
0% chance.
0% chance. But if they can get back on another winning streak, then I'll believe them. But to have a winning streak and keep that winning streak, then get knocked down and can continue your winning ways, that's kind of the true test to see how good your team actually is.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like I said, the A's especially, I mean, they looked awful the first couple weeks of the season and then went on this amazing 13-game stretch where they looked unbeatable. I mean, they weren't beatable for 13 games. So it's interesting. I think there's a lot of teams like that in the American League, overall. So a lot of teams that are going to go super hot and cold streaks. It's going to be a roller coaster of a season, and just kind of who can ever as you mentioned, James, kind of manage those highs and lows and kind of stay steady, and we'll see who ends up on top in the end. So moving on to my last oh damn moment, Corbin Burns, pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, has gotten off to a super hot start. He has struck out 40 batters so far this season and walked 0. That's one hell of a strikeout to walk ratio. It's very, very impressive. I'm not totally sure what the best start to an MLB season is, but he's got to be close, or probably he's already beat it. Yes, Alex?
I know. Okay, well, first of all, after
I got this.
After tonight, he's got 49. He got 9 more Ks tonight. And then I believe it's Kenley Jansen with 51 as a reliever, but Tradon, I could be wrong.
No, you're. Well, I mean, I don't know. You might be right, but I don't know if the stat I have has to do with just starters or what. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, he was a reliever, so that could be cheating. Go ahead, Tyler. I'm sorry.
No, thank you for the fact check. I appreciate that. So 49 strikeouts now to 0 walks. So it's very, very, very impressive. I think that the Brewers pitching staff as a whole was nasty. But Tradon, I want to ask you about Burns here. This is a pretty awesome start. I want to get your take on it. Like, how many strikeouts is this guy going to throw before he finally walks somebody?
Yeah, you guys might not like what I'm about to say. I want to throw some real back in your face. But before we get there, yes. So you are right, Alex. I think you were right that it was a Jansen. It was a reliever. As a starter, this is the best stretch of any pitcher, at least up until now. He did play today, and I'll get there. Burns is the first pitcher in the modern era to have 40 strikeouts and no walks in a stretch of 4 games at any point in the season. And that's since 1901. That is a long. I mean, there's not a. He set the record. The record was set back in 1893. I mean, like the game, like nothing was
baseball, man.
Nothing was regular then. So, yes, it was incredible. However, I guess to answer your question, he got to 49 today. He still has yet to throw a walk. So I'm gonna say 55. I'm gonna give him 6 more. But here's the thing. I know you can't count this, but he hit 3 batters. I know it doesn't count, but he's not that accurate if he's hit 3 fucking batters. Oh, and by the way, he gave up 8 hits today, 4 earned runs against today. And he is 2-3 when he's starting. I mean, it is amazing, but let's cool our jets. Like, dude, the guy historically is not that good. I mean, he's okay. He's just not that good. He is off to an amazing start. I got to tip my hat to him. But let's just it's amazing that he hasn't walked him. That he hasn't walked anybody. That is amazing. I don't know why you can't count a hit batter as a walk. Like, why can anybody answer why that's not a walk?
Yeah. So obviously it's less pitches. You can hit a batter on one pitch. It's not 4 pitches, right? So it's a lot easier to hit someone on 1 pitch than it is to walk someone on 4 bad pitches. So that's why hit by pitch, it could be a fastball that gets away, just a pitch that gets away. It's a mistake. It happens. But a walk is just one bad at bat. That's
like 4,
right? So it's like it's a complete fuck up on the pitcher's part versus the hit by pitch is just like, oops, sorry, accidentally or on purpose sometimes.
Or fuck you.
Or fuck you.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Quick question, Tradon.
Go ahead.
How many home runs has he given up?
6. No, I mean, I don't know how many home runs. 1.
Pretty solid.
Okay, that's for somebody who have 49 strikeouts and have 1 home run. I mean, like, the fact of the matter is, to strike somebody out, you got to throw in the strike zone for the most part. I mean, people foul the ball off.
True.
But the fact that you're throwing him a pitch that he should be able to hit because you're throwing in the strike zone, and to only give up 1 home run in the period where he's struck out 49 people is amazing.
No, look, I come on this podcast to be to make people raise their eyebrows, to make people think, what the fuck is he talking about? Look, I had to throw an angle in here that he was human today. He was not what he has been in the first 4 games. That being said, you're absolutely right. 49 strikeouts with no walks. I mean, it was already unprecedented before today, and it's still the same. It's still, that stat is still intact, and he's still growing on it. And you know what? I'm gonna give him 6, which is actually more than like going into this. I'm like, like he's probably gonna throw a walk today, and he didn't. So I couldn't say like 40 or 42. It is amazing. He did look human today. I have to say that. I know it's not up to him completely, but they do have a losing record when he's starting. So I know that's not completely up to him by any means. He's doing his part. The offense is not doing their part, or the rest of the pitching staff's not doing their part. And that's unfortunate because, when you have a guy that's doing this type of work and he's not getting the benefit of the win, you gotta address that, because clearly your guy is doing his job. Like, he can't do everything. So I mean, it's amazing. I had to make you guys raise your eyebrows a little bit. That's part of the whole thing. But yeah, I'll give him 55.
0% chance
55.
if he's on the Orioles.
Yeah, brutal. All right, so 55 strikeouts before his first walk. All right, we'll see if Tradon's right.
Let's all guess and see who got closer. Who gets closer?
Okay, I'm gonna go. I think he's gonna get 61. I think he's gonna go 60. Yeah,
that's
James,
11 still.
Yep. James, what do you got?
66.
Wow,
going up. Alex, what do you got?
I think he has to play pitch against the Dodgers next, and their offense has been pretty garbage last week.
50.
So
they're also one of the best walk rate teams in baseball.
That is true. That is a good point.
Is a walk machine.
They're very good play discipline.
And Corbin Bird's on my fantasy team. Ooh. 69.
Hey.
Oh yeah, nice.
Great number.
So we're gonna go big. We're gonna go real big.
I'm gonna let Eric answer, and then I have a question for the base.
60.
Eric's got 60.
I'm probably wrong.
I'm sorry, Burns. I clearly don't love you as much as the rest of the PLDR.
He'll probably walk the first batter he faces.
I want to ask you guys, what makes is it just nerves, or what makes a batter walkable? Like, is it that they're so good that pitchers are trying to get so close to the edge that
I mean, that's the classic debate of it's hitter versus pitcher, and a batter is very successful if he has good plate discipline, meaning he's only swinging at strikes, and he's not being fooled by pitches that look like strikes that end up being balls, right? So that's sliders, balls that move. They have really good pitch recognition, so they can see very quickly and recognize very quickly, oh, this is a slider that's starting away and it's going to end up in the dirt. Versus some guys, get nervous, or they're not very confident up there, and they'll swing at pretty much anything because they're just trying to make contact. And on the pitcher side too, it's like, how confident am I going to throw this fastball up and in, or throw his curveball right down the middle, because he's not going to expect it, or my stuff is just that good that even if it's right down the middle, they're not going to hit it. That kind of that Trevor Bauer confidence, right? I'm just going to throw it. I'm going to tell you what's coming, and you're still not going to hit it. So it's that I'm coming at you, you're coming at me.
The chicken or the egg.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of my favorite things about baseball. It's the kind of the game within the game is that pitcher versus batter battle in there.
I love it. Congrats, Burns. I don't mean any disrespect. I just had to have some fun.
I mean, no, it's a good point. He's definitely, I think we make him seem like he's this elite, probably best pitcher in baseball. And as you mentioned, he's probably not quite that, but nonetheless, his streak is pretty
amazing.
Impressive. That's all I got for baseball this week, Alex. So thanks guys for chiming in, and we'll look forward to some more next week.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong about the Burns thing, but again, he's on my fantasy team, so
yeah,
I'm gonna
love him then, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna believe. Yeah, I'm gonna believe. Thank you, Tyler. As always, that was great. We're gonna take a quick break, and then when we come back, number 10 through 1, we're finishing up our NFL draft predictions with James. We'll be right back. 1, 2, 3. All right, welcome back. Hey, James, for the first time, all 5 of us are here, and we're finishing out the NFL draft picks. How great is that? It all kind of worked out.
Yeah, dude, for sure. It all worked out. Finally, I mean, we got Eric here, Tyler here, Tradon and Alex. You guys are always here, so it's cool. But it's glad to have the group back together so I don't have to read off people's picks and make excuses for them. That's good stuff. And I'm honestly, like I said last week, I'm pretty sure Eric had multiple picks of the same person, but we'll see.
Did I?
Yeah, I think so. This week is the top 10, 1 through 10. This draft is going to be pretty insane. Typically in years past, I've watched the draft and it's like you kind of know who they're going to pick, when they're going to pick them. But this year, there's so much smoke and mirrors, so many possible trades that are happening, and just so many needs because people are dumping salaries. So they're trying to fill it any way they can. So this draft is going to be insane. Top 10, I think we'll have a lot of people who are the same because typically top 10, you'll be able to kind of gauge who's going where based off talent and need. But we're going to start with number 10. We're going to start with the Dallas Cowboys. Tradon, who are you picking?
Yeah, it's gonna be the best CB on the board. It's gonna be Patrick Surtain II from Alabama. Yeah, I think that's it. They need to improve that secondary, which is not very good.
I agree 100%. I had the same guy off to a good start because I told you guys we're probably gonna have a lot of the same ones here. He was the most lockdown and consistent cornerback in the draft. The dude never allowed more than 65 yards, and they locked up their offense and they locked up Dak Prescott. So let's look at the defense and improve the defense. Tyler, who do you got?
Ditto, Mr. Patrick.
Okay.
Yep.
Alex.
Same position, different player. I've got J.C. Horn, also cornerback coming out of South Carolina, going there. Spoiler alert: Patrick is going to be gone before then, so that's why I don't have him there.
Interesting. Okay, that's gonna be fun. Eric, what you got?
I have the same guy you and Tyler said.
And Tradon. But yeah, Patrick Surtain 3, J.C. Horn 1. Moving on to pick number 9, Denver Broncos. Tyler, who are you picking?
I got an offensive tackle from Northwestern, Rashawn Slater. Bulk up that offensive line a little bit there in Denver. Help him out a little bit. So yeah, Rashawn Slater, I think probably one of the better offensive tackles. Got a couple before him, but yeah, Slater for out of Northwestern.
So if I remember correctly, you still have 4 QBs on the board. So you think Drew Lock is the guy in Denver?
I mentioned that before. I think that they're still going to give him one more season to prove himself. So we'll see.
Okay, interesting. Alex.
Spoiler. Here we go. Patrick Surtain II. Cornerback. Alabama is going 1 pick before what you guys said to the Broncos.
You also believe Drew Lock's the guy?
I also think they're going to give him 1 more year.
Okay. Eric.
I got Jalen Waddle, wide receiver from Alabama. Drew Lock he's probably gonna get like 3 weeks, or they're gonna trade him in the draft and maybe get a quarterback or something. Who knows?
I feel like I'm the only. I guess we'll see what Tradon thinks because I have a QB on the board.
Yeah.
Tradon, who are you picking?
Yeah. Bye, Drew Lock. Bye. Mac Jones from Alabama is going to Denver.
Okay. I went with Trey Lance, QB, North Dakota State. Reason being, he's a dual threat QB with a crazy arm. He's comped to Taysom Hill, but with arm talent. As I've alluded to, I don't think Drew Lock's the answer. He's had a couple of years, has not produced. The Broncos offense hasn't been good in years, and the dual threat and the big arm is going to intrigue a lot of people. And that's why I think Trey Lance is going to go to the Denver Broncos.
I mean, James, to be fair, the amount of the quarterbacks could go any way. Like, it's so crazy. So I don't think that's a bad pick at all.
Exactly. I mean, this draft has the most generational quarterbacks that a draft has seen in recent memory.
Crazy.
Moving on to pick number 8, the Carolina Panthers. Alex.
Again, so this is where I made my trade last week. So for me, this is the Chicago Bears. And Andy Dalton, my ginger buddy, is not the future in Chicago. So Justin Fields going to be the new quarterback in Chicago.
Okay.
Wow.
Why Chicago? Why Justin Fields Chicago?
Because everything that I've read, he is dropping down the boards. He should be a higher pick. For whatever reason, teams are fading him. I think he's going to be the guy that's still going to be there for the Bears. They were going to take any one of these QBs. And at pick 8, that's going to be the last guy. So a little bit of a spoilers for my picks coming up, but Justin Fields.
Eric.
Completely opposite. I got Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman from Northwestern. Hey, they need blocking. They need to protect their quarterbacks. Whatever quarterback they do go with needs to have time to throw the ball.
I also went with Deshaun Slater, but remember this is the Carolina Panthers, who just traded for Sam Darnold. They did that with the belief, not the Bears. They did that with the belief that Darnold needed more time in the pocket to develop, and the Jets' offense is holding him back from his true potential. I think that's the case. Sam Darnold's USC tape was good. Playing for Adam Gase and the Jets really kills people's careers. So give him time, give him protection, give him another offensive lineman. Protect Darnold, protect CMC. You can have a good offense with Matt Rule at the helm. Tradon, who you got?
I got the young quarterback in Trey Lance here. The reason being is, to your point, Sam Darnold, I think, is going to kind of hold the mantle for a little bit. Trey Lance is young, so he's going to get a lot of time to develop. And I think that Sam Darnold's going to be kind of that bridge to when Trey Lance finally enters the league. I have him going here.
Okay. And Tyler?
So I got Justin Fields, the Panthers quarterback, Ohio State. Kind of for the same reasons that Tradon was mentioning. I don't think Sam Darnold is going to be the long-term answer there in Carolina. So they're going to draft a young, talented quarterback, try and to develop him until he's ready to kind of take on a full starting role. Or who knows, maybe Sam Darnold will suck so bad that they'll want him to come in earlier. We'll see. But yeah, I think the Panthers are going to go quarterback here.
Okay. Moving on to pick number 7, the Detroit Lions. Eric, who you got?
Trey Lance, North Dakota State quarterback. Basically what Tyler just said, but with the Lions, I don't know if Jared Goff's going to be the guy. So get another quarterback there, start developing now, unless you want to base your future on Jared Goff.
Okay. Tradon.
Yeah, I actually think that they're going to give Jared Goff his year that he probably deserves. I mean, so I have Devonta Smith, wide receiver from Alabama. That's a lot of Alabama guys going in the top 10. Like, they're really good.
That's NFLU, bro.
I think that he is going to have his number one wideout with Devonta Smith.
Okay. Tyler.
I got Micah Parsons, linebacker from Penn State. I think, they're going to keep going defense here. Great talent there off the board. I think probably the best linebacker you can get. Why not go get him?
Okay. Alex.
Might be a little bit of a shock that he slides this far, but I'm going Kyle Pitts, tight end.
Oh my God. Wow.
Florida is going to slip because of team needs earlier on, and giving Jared Goff that number one elite tight end / wide receiver. I mean, he made Tyler Higbee a top 10 tight end in the NFL. You think he can't make Kyle Pitts already top 3 tight end? He's going to slip to number 7.
That is insane.
Yeah, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, I fucking predicted a trade. We're going big here.
No, I love it. I love it. And you might be right, but that seems insane to me.
I have Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama, going to the Detroit Lions. As I mentioned time and time again, the Lions suck. They're not going to go anywhere. So you need to highlight. You need a big play. You got to have a reason why people come watch you play, and that's going to be him. He is the fastest, most explosive, and athletic guy in this entire draft class. He's super fast. Jared Goff is really good at throwing the ball super deep. He's not good at throwing into tight windows. Jalen Waddle runs straight and really fast. Throw the ball far enough, maybe Jalen Waddle can catch it. Who knows? So I have Jalen Waddle going to the Detroit Lions. Moving on, number 6, Miami Dolphins. Tradon.
The Miami Dolphins are going to pick Jamar Chase, wide receiver. Tua's going to have Chase. He's going to have Devontae Parker. He's going to have Will Fuller. He's actually going to look elite, baby. Let's go Dolphins.
I agree 100%. I had the same pick there. He's the most complete wide receiver in the draft. Great route running. Went to the point of contact. Can break tackles after the catch. Guy's kind of crazy. He was an NFL body at the age of 19. 2 years later, at 21, he's going to be incredible. Best wide receiver on this board in a draft full of really great wide receivers. Getting to another weapon is going to be key. Tyler, who you got?
Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU.
Alex.
Yeah, James, what you and Tradon and Tyler just said.
Yep.
And Eric.
Jamar Chase.
Hey! I think the first time we all agreed.
Yeah. and watch that not even be the case, like when they draft. Moving on, number 5, the Cincinnati Bengals. Tyler, you go first. I know you had a weird pick on this last time.
Yep. So I've completely flip-flopped. You guys, and kind of changed my mind on the Bengals needs here. So I'm going to kind of go with the conventional wisdom and go with Penei Sewell, offensive tackle out of Oregon. Clearly, I was very much wrong. They don't need more wide receivers. I just like wide receivers. I don't know why. It wasn't a very well thought argument. I thought I was clever, but clearly the more I thought about it, I was just being a dumbass as usual. Clearly the bigger need is on the offensive line. They were horrible last year. This guy, he's the best offensive lineman on the board. So he will go to number 5 to Cincinnati.
I agree. Plain and simple, protect Joe Burrow and give Joe Mixon some room to run. Alex.
Yeah, I predicted this pick during our "What do these teams need" segment, 2 months ago. Same guy. I think when 2021, 2022 is over, he's going to be the best rookie out of this class. Penei Sewell, offensive tackle, Oregon.
Eric.
Go Ducks.
Yeah, I have him too, but I feel like you guys are mispronouncing his name. I think it's Penei Sewell.
That sounds very much not right.
Or Penei. It could be Penei.
That's what I've been saying, dude.
Or Penei.
I feel like you really want to say penis really badly.
Oh, Penei. Look at it. Penei. Penei.
Oh, God.
How do you pronounce his last name?
Well, probably not. Oh, Sewell.
Swell.
Wow.
Sewell.
This is great. Good job, Eric. Tradon, who you got?
Yeah, Joe Burrow has been buried. Not anymore, baby. I don't even have to say his name. You guys said it already.
Say it. What is it?
Okay, moving on to pick number 4, the Atlanta Falcons. Before we get into this one, reports have shown that Julio Jones is probably going to be out of Atlanta soon. The Falcons need cap space. They're willing to trade away Julio Jones, so keep that in mind when you're making your pick. Alex, who you got?
Yeah, this is there's 4 guys left, and I got Trey Lance. Matt Ryan is still owed a lot of money, but he's not the future. Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State.
Maybe he can play some wide receiver. Who knows? Eric, who you got?
I got Kyle Pitts, tight end from Florida. I do agree with Alex, though. I don't think Matt Ryan's the guy for much longer, but this could be a tight end they develop over time, and whatever next quarterback comes in, this will be his tight end to go to.
I agree. I said this last week when somebody made a Kyle Pitts pick. Was that you? I think you picked.
You picked him way down.
Did I already pick him?
Yeah, I think you picked him last week somewhere.
Well, let me change it to he's going to go to the Falcons, 4th pick, tight end.
Oh my God, you're obviously not going to win this. But last week I had mentioned that he's a hybrid between Travis Kelce and George Kittle. Easily the best tight end in any draft that we've ever had. He would have been a first-round pick even if he was just wide receiver. He was that good. He puts up better numbers than any wide receiver. In 8 games, he had 770 yards and 12 touchdowns. In 8 games, not even a full 12. So that was crazy that he put up that amount in that little time, and also blocks. So the fact that they're probably going to lose Julio Jones, adding another receiving threat who can also protect Matt Ryan is key. So I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts there. Tradon.
Oh, yeah. You said it. Kyle Pitts from Florida is going to the Falcons. Look, I want to ask you, over under top 5 tight end pick in fantasy.
I think he's going to be like 7.
Okay, fair enough.
Typically, tight ends have a really steep learning curve because they have to learn route combinations and blocking schemes. So it takes them a while to develop. The fact, he's going to be a number 2 option, number 3 option on that team.
Look, I think Matty Ice is going to have a little bit of a resurgence. I love Matty Ice. I think he's going to have a season, and he's going to have a elite tight end by week 3, 4.
Okay. And Tyler.
Yep, I agree with most of you guys here. Kyle Pitts, tight end, Florida.
Moving on, number 3, the San Francisco 49ers, my favorite team. This is an extremely hard pick for me to project, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, Eric, you go first.
Justin Fields, quarterback. Jimmy G is not the guy. He's done. He's not who you should rely on for the future. Maybe they give him one more chance this year. Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields to the Niners, 3rd pick.
That's what I have written down as well. I also have Justin Fields, but this is the pick that I'm least confident in this entire mock draft that we're doing. At pick number 3, the Niners can pick anybody from Justin Fields to Trey Lance to Mac Jones. And all those guys can fit that offensive scheme and play under Kyle Shanahan, especially if they're going to give Jimmy G the first couple of games, and give that rookie QB some time to develop and learn that position a little bit better. So I'm going to say Justin Fields, but honestly, I'm not sure. Tradon.
Yeah, I mean, reading reports on this pick is, like you said, is probably the biggest one. It's a 3-headed monster they could have picked from, and I've already picked 2 of the 3 are gone in my little rankings. So yeah, Justin Fields. To me, he's kind of a perfect fit, James, for your guys' scheme. He throws on the run. He can carry the ball himself. That's kind of what Kyle Shanahan how he likes to play. There's more smaller throws, intermediate throws that he's gonna shine in. That's your system. And I think that he's gonna change your he's the quarterback you guys need.
Tyler.
Yeah, like you guys said, this is a toss-up. I think it's a really tough one to pick. But I'm going to go with Trey Lance, quarterback out of North Dakota State. Couple of opinions that I've heard from 49ers coaching and scouts is they really like this guy. I mean, I'm sure they like Justin Fields too. And I think you really can't go wrong with either one. So it really is just kind of how they feel, and it may be just an internal thing, how they kind of get their vibe and kind of how they feel like they fit. Both personality wise and obviously as an athlete, but with just the way that my draft fell, I'm gonna go with Trey Lance here.
And Alex.
I think you guys are all forgetting that NFL teams don't always pick the player that fits their best for their team. They make mistakes all the time. So with that said, Mac Jones going to the 49ers is going to be a fucking nightmare. He's going to be pretty much the exact same thing as Jimmy G, and it's not going to go well. From what I've seen, this is like the toughest pick to predict within the top, 10 probably. Definitely. But I have no faith in the Niners to make the right choice, so I'm having to make the wrong choice, and that's Mac Jones.
Okay, I mean, I hate it, but I love it at the same time. Moving on, number 2. I mean, at this point, it's pretty cut and dry. Tradon, number 2 pick, New York Jets.
BYU, Zach Wilson.
Okay, Tyler.
Yeah, BYU, Zach Wilson.
Alex.
Trevor. No, I'm just kidding. Zach Wilson.
And Eric.
Mac. Just kidding. Zach Wilson.
And for number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm pretty sure we'll have Trevor.
Everyone at the same time? No.
Trevor.
Middle name Lawrence. Come on.
Trevor.
To be honest, this guy's been a consistent number 1 overall pick since his freshman year of high school. Like he was going to be number 1 no matter what.
Didn't he just get married?
He did. He did get married, and all the Jaguars fans donated a bunch and bought from his registry. So that's really cool.
What if he doesn't get drafted there?
I feel like Jacksonville fucks everything up. This is something they can't fuck up, right? This is they actually
could,
but they can't. Like it's impossible.
Well, right? See, they could not fuck it up by picking him, but then they could fuck it up by the fact that they're the Jaguars and ruin him.
Yeah.
They
do have Urban Meyer as a coach now.
That's true.
We'll see. Anyway, stay tuned for the results. I'll announce it. The draft is this Thursday, I believe. So I'll go ahead and announce it next podcast, and we'll see who wins. Not Eric. So that's a mistake.
All right. I'm a little disappointed that I'm the only one that predicted a trade. I feel like I went big, and I am pretty proud of myself for that. I'm not going to lie. But James, this was super fun. I have a feeling we're all going to do just dog shit, to be completely honest. But it was crazy fun. We're going to take one last break, and then Tradon is going to finish out the night with some hockey. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Apparently, we have to talk about hockey. I feel like we can just skip the fantasy portion of that. Personally,
no. You can't weasel your way out of this one, man.
Oh, okay. Go for it, Tradon.
All right, let's start with fantasy. Look, the first and second seed are not winning fantasy this year.
Dumb.
They are done. James, Tyler, both won their 2-week playoff, and they're actually playing each other. Do you guys really even care about the third and fourth place battle? No. I'm not.
I think they win $20
for the next.
They win their money back.
Yeah.
That's true. For the next 2 weeks, all we're going to talk about is Tyler and James. As it stands right now, after day one, James has 252 points to Tyler's 76. I know
what the hell, Tyler? Why couldn't you done that yesterday?
That seems like a wide margin.
And Saturday.
I mean, James just put up 252 points in like a day, so that could easily flip.
It'll flip.
It'll easily flip the other way. Look, I'm struggling to find like really interesting things to talk about. I'm sorry about that, but I think I got some okay ones. To be honest, I'm gonna start off right from the top. Let's see. Yeah. Vancouver Canucks have gone, I guess now 3-2 in their first weeks. They went 3-1 in their first week back since March 24th. They are currently actually after tonight's games. I want to update this. They are 10 points out of a playoff spot, but have 5 games at hand on the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal won their game today against Calgary, and Ottawa beat Vancouver Canucks, so Vancouver did not get a point. But technically, Vancouver still has the games at hand to make the playoffs. So Eric, I'm going to ask you: can Vancouver pull off this feat and make the playoffs after a terrible season of COVID and all this shit?
No, fuck them, because they fucked me over in fantasy, as I explained earlier with Thatcher Demko, when the whole team went down with COVID. But no, I actually don't think they could do it anyways. It's just not enough time. What do they have? 6 games left or something?
They actually have 14.
14? Oh shit.
14 and they have 5 games at hand. So there's a potential 10 points there, which would have them tied with Montreal, assuming Montreal didn't win another game.
Exactly. So they need Montreal to lose the rest of their games, which I don't see that happening. But not only were they hit with the COVID storm, they came out flat this year. We all thought they would be better. They signed Holtby, a Stanley Cup winning goaltender, he finally had a good couple games these last 3 games. So, it took him a while to get going. I think it's too little too late. Pedersen is still out with an injury. That's one of their top players. I feel like they kind of just lost some swagger this year. They got rid of Tanev, who seemed to be a big locker room guy that helped them a lot last year. Last year we saw them almost go to the Western Finals and almost beat Vegas in a Game 7. Ended up being a 1-goal game that Vegas scored in the third period with a little bit of time left. But I think this year maybe people had higher expectations for them, and they haven't really fulfilled that. I think it's too little too late, and that they're not going to pull this off.
Look, I said this maybe 5 weeks ago that the Canucks were dead, and I have to stand by that, or else I can't just be a flip-flopper. That's not cool. You got to stick with what you believe. I believe they're out of it. However, I do just want to point out that they do have a lot of games against the Flames, and they have one more game against the Senators this season. Those are winnable games, especially right now. The Flames are I don't know what they are. They are really struggling. The Daryl Sutter thing hasn't really panned out as I expected. I just don't think he has the personnel that he needs to make that team what he needs to make it. This is the type of coach that he is. He is playing the Oilers 4 times, which the Oilers right now are playing very well. The Jets are going to be fighting for second place, and they play the Maple Leafs twice. It's a big uphill battle, but I'll also look at it the other side. James's Montreal Canadiens are just very inconsistent for me. They're 4-6 in their last 10. And they're just all over the place. They have a 0 goal differential now, and they did have a positive, they had a positive one for the longest time, a very strong positive goal differential, but they have just fallen from grace from that early on. But I think I'm going to agree with you, Eric. I think they're done. But I think they're going to battle it out. They're going to try. And they should. I mean, if you have a chance, you have a chance. I just don't think Calgary has the willpower. But I just think Vancouver is just too far out unless Montreal just can't figure it out. James, I guess this does include your Montreal. Do you think Montreal is going to be take that spot or what?
Yeah, I do. They need some veteran leadership right now to kind of lead them through this period of burnout, of plateau. I think Carey Price can be that leader, but right now he's out with a concussion. Yep. So without being in there and playing, somebody needs to step up. And I'm really hoping Jeff Petrie does that soon, because he's kind of been one of the top guys this year, especially on defense, a top goal, like point getter. He needs to step it up right now, bring some of that veteran mindset and leadership to a reasonably young team, and a team that is kind of inexperienced because all those guys have picked up this offseason who haven't played in a while or haven't had that playoff experience. When Carey Price comes back, I think he'll be that veteran leadership that kind of captains the ship and leads them to where they need to be.
Wow, I like it. If just to give you guys a quick rundown, if the playoffs started today, Montreal would be playing Toronto. To me, right on paper, that seems like a complete mismatch. And Edmonton would play Winnipeg, which has been a very fun series all season. So I'm very excited for the playoffs. They're just, the Oilers have 10 more games and Vancouver has 14. So we're getting close. Moving on to the East, Pittsburgh shut out the Bruins yesterday to earn the top spot in the Mass Mutual East. They went from 6th to 1st in a matter of 4 or 5 weeks. Alex, I know you love for some reason you love taking the East, the East topics, and I love it because I need to follow them more. I guess my question for you is Pittsburgh going to be able to sustain this to win the division in the regular season, but also do you think they have the firepower and the willpower to win the first 2 rounds to be the team out of the top 2 or the first 2 rounds there?
Yeah, you know what the crazy thing is? So one of my best buddies, we talk about hockey all the time. He's a huge Pittsburgh Penguins fan. I mentioned him on the podcast a couple of times. I remember texting him maybe early March, late February, saying, is it time to blow it up in Pitt? Like, I was full on ready for them to blow it up. And was I wrong? Because they've gone on an absolute tear over the last month. Obviously, they've traded for the hottest man in hockey, Jeff Carter. That is super helpful. And you still have Malkin just waiting in the wings. He's there's still not a super good timetable for his return, but it seems like the organization says he'll be back before the end of the regular season. Obviously getting him back sooner rather than later would be ideal. Get his legs back under him, getting him back up to, NHL speed. I think I talked about this last week. We talked about the East being unbelievably tough when the season started, and it's kind of been a letdown. I mean, the Flyers have been a huge disappointment. The Sabres should be relegated. The Devils are terrible. The Rangers have finally turned it around. They'd probably be a playoff team in other divisions, but I just don't really trust the other 3 teams. I don't have a bunch of faith in, especially the goaltending for the other 3 teams. And Yari has been playing a lot better as of late. And I think he can carry them. And I think Pittsburgh, there's a lot of guys, Bergeron, Ovechkin, that have a lot of playoff experience on those other 2 teams. The Islanders, again, are just the most annoying team in hockey. But I think Pittsburgh is surprisingly somehow the most deep team.
Wow.
And any team that has Crosby and Malkin is going to compete. And so to answer your question, yeah, I think they can hold on to it. They've been playing the best hockey of late. Sometimes that's what it's all about. I know we bring this up all the time, but we saw it with the Kings, the 8 seed in 2012. They played hot. They won the cup as an 8 seed. So
yeah,
I think Pittsburgh has a really good shot to come out of the East and be one of the final 4.
Yeah. I love what they've done ever since Ron Hextall and Brian Burke took over the management team. And I'm a big follower of Brian Burke. He's a former GM for the Anaheim Ducks back when they won their cup. He's also been part of Sportsnet, which I listen to every single day. they came in and I didn't know what they were going to be able to do. There was questions of whether, Malkin or Crosby were going to be on the trading block or Letang. They kept it together, and they brought in now Jeff Carter. And I think that to your point, I think they're probably the deepest team in terms of the scoring all the way through the lineup. You don't have the problems that Boston has where only one line can score. They have a plus 34 goal differential. That is best in the Mass Mutual East, just ahead of the Rangers, who are actually on the outside looking in, who did have the best goal differential, ironically enough. Their home split is insane. 23-2. They've lost 5 games at home. They love to play at home, clearly. And they're 8-1-1 in their last 10, and they're on a 4-game winning streak. I think you're absolutely right. They are going to come out of the top or out of that division. They are like tiny bit behind the Washington in terms of the point percentage, but one more game, one more Washington loss, and boom, it's flipped the other way. So, I think that Pittsburgh is going to win the Mass Mutual East. And I think that they have a very good shot of making those first two or winning those first 2 rounds. To your point before that the East is a little bit of a letdown, I would agree. I will say that it must be because New Jersey and Buffalo are so bad, but the point percentage between the top 6 teams is better than anybody else. Like the 5th and 6th point Rangers and Philadelphia both have better point percentages than the 4th spot in the Honda West, which leads me to think that they're just like New Jersey and Buffalo just get their asses handed to them every single night. And we obviously that we did see that. I would love to see the Rangers like squeak in, because I think that they've really turned it on. I don't think it's going to happen though. I think it's just too little too late. But yeah, I agree with you. Let's see Pittsburgh win the Mass Mutual East, because I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Just like I said about the Scotia North, if the playoffs were to start today, Pittsburgh would be taking on Boston. I would love to see that series. That'd be a fun series. And Washington would take on the Islanders. Offense versus defense, classic battle. It'd be interesting to see how that kind of pans out. And now we're going to move over to the Honda West. James, you wanted to take this one over, if I'm not mistaken. The Honda West, they were the first. Their top 3 teams were the first to clinch the playoffs already. It's very early. I would say that they were the only ones to clinch so far, but that is not true. Carolina earned their loser point today and did clinch the playoffs in the Discover Central. But that 4th spot is up for grabs, and it has been an ugly ass battle. I hate the bottom of the Honda, guys. I'm so sorry. The bottom of the Honda past Minnesota is absolutely terrible, in my opinion. Vegas, Colorado, Minnesota, as I mentioned, all clinched, but it is a battle for the 4th spot. To me, it's between St. Louis and Arizona. You could maybe say that if San Jose wins their game right now, they could have a chance. But James, who do you think is taking that 4th spot?
It's so crazy that technically every single one of those teams still has a shot. The Ducks, who are in my power rankings number 30, still have a shot at making playoffs if they win out.
They haven't eliminated. They haven't been
Not
eliminated. Yet. Oh wow!
They might tonight because they're losing against the Kings.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah, they're so terrible. But I'm going to agree with you. I think it's going to come down to the wire, and I think it's going to be the Blues and the Coyotes. At the end of the day, I do think the Blues take that number 4 spot and make the playoffs that way. The goal difference right now is Blues with -8, Coyotes with -22. So that's the only stat that really sets them apart right now. The Blues are ahead by 1 point, and the Blues have also played 2 less games than the Coyotes have. Further looking into stats this way, everything else is pretty much neck and neck. There's really no real differential other than the goal differential and the way that they play in their power play minutes and the power plays and their power play, like in their power kill or power in their kill, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
PK.
Penalty. There it is.
We got
I watch hockey, clearly. So what I looked at was these weird little stats. Maybe one of these teams can play better away from home. And that's what the case is here. The Blues play better when they're away. They have a better record away. They've won 6 more games away, and right now 60% of the remaining games are away. So that could give them an edge. Also, the Blues have been competitive in the games up until the very end. They haven't lost by more than 2 goals since the beginning of April. On the other hand, when the Coyotes lose, they lose by more than 2 goals often. So if you look at it that way, the longer you can stay in games, the closer you are, the more competitive you technically are. The more you fight, the better your culture, the more you win. To be honest, though, I don't really know what I'm talking about. So it's going to come down to the feeling, and I just feel like the Blues are going to take it because they have more of that pedigree. They've had more success recently. They won a cup recently. The Coyotes have been kind of off the map up until the last 2 years. So I think the Blues will just take it due to the fact that they have before, and they have the personnel to do so and the experience to do so.
The Blues are lucky to even be where they are right now, just in the fact of what Tradon said, where like they were expected to be way better this year, and they've just haven't really done shit this season, and they're still like probably going to make the playoffs. They still have time to turn it on, and it's just like fuck, you know, that's how bad the division is.
That's the beauty of playing in a terrible division. Let's be real. Look, because my fiance is a huge Sharks fan. I would love for them to make it in. Don't shoot me, TLDR podcast.
No.
I know you hate the Sharks. I get it. I understand it. And I'm not gonna say that you're wrong because that's got to happen. But the Sharks are 1-8-1. They're in the last 10. They're not making it. So it is between Arizona and St. Louis. I'm gonna actually pull for Arizona just to be different than you, James, because I like that. I want the first thing I looked at was what the difference in save percentage was, and you're absolutely right. They're both sub 900 at like 0.896 and 0.898. Both trash, both terrible.
They're losing against the Sharks right now, just so you know. It's like 4-2.
Yes, and I saw those 4 goals.
1-8-1 Sharks.
4 goals against, and it's just not good. I don't know. I think to your point, James, whatever team's going to make it in is going to lose. Like in the first round, it's not even going to be a big matchup. But I'm just going to say the Arizona Coyotes just because I think they have, I don't know. Just feeling. I feel it, whatever. And I just want to be different. I don't want to, be alike and everything. I guess the only thing I could point to is St. Louis does have a better 10-game stretch. They're fine 5-5. Arizona's 3-7. Not very good. That's not really helping my case here. But I don't know. I got to be different. I can't completely agree with you. But the Honda West, if we were to start the playoffs today, Vegas would be taking on St. Louis. What a mismatch. Does anybody even put any money on St. Louis?
Oh, I would.
Not even stupid money?
No, I would. Enough to make me like $100 off of $5.
Yeah, I'd put money on it just for a possible upset.
Exactly.
And like I was just saying, like all year they haven't done shit. They've been lucky to be where they are, but like now it's like, okay, they might get in the playoffs and might just turn it on at the right time, kind of like the Kings when they were the 8th seed.
Yeah, that's very true.
And just fuck Vegas. That'd be so great for them to just lose right immediately to the Blues.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. However, Vegas has the best goal differential, the longest streak, the best point percentage, and I don't need to go on because they're one.
Didn't you argue it's because they play in the worst division?
That could be the case.
Yes.
But they do have to face the second best team in the league. 8 times
in the worst division.
Tradon, is the Stanley Cup final really going to be the Vegas Colorado series? I love
that.
Whoever wins that.
So you're saying the second round would be the Stanley Cup final?
Yeah. Just like the year the Kings played the Rangers, it was like whichever Kings or Blackhawks come out of the West is going to be the Stanley Cup champion.
I would like to think so. And actually, the way that to Eric's point earlier, the way that the whole division is set up, it does suck that these two teams have to play each other so early because this should actually be the Western Conference final. Like if we were back to normal, this should be the Western Conference final. I'm going to say not necessarily because I think that those two teams are going to run each other into the ground. And by the time you get out of that, you're going to play a Carolina who breezed through maybe, or Toronto who breezed through, but that could make you stronger. So I think that if you're not watching, to your point though, if you're not watching that series, you're an idiot. I think that's a must watch series, second round of the playoffs. Even if you don't like hockey, you'll like it after that series because it's going to be amazing. And
even if the ice is melted.
Even if the ice is melted. And Colorado would be playing Minnesota. Look, Minnesota has been great. It's a great story. I just don't think that they can compete with Colorado. Let's be real. Before we move on to the fourth, even though we're not talking about the Discover Central, I do want to say the playoff thing as it stands today. Carolina would play Nashville, although I'm still pulling for Dallas on that one. I think Dallas.
Preds, baby.
They just beat Carolina today, man. That's cool.
Yep. And Florida would play Tampa. Look, Florida would play Tampa in a playoff series, guys. That is what Florida needed. That is what the Florida Panthers needed. They need this type. Like it's always been. I guess that's a terrible rivalry right there, Eric. Florida and Tampa Bay. It's been completely mismatched. But I don't think it is.
Go Florida.
I don't think it is anymore. I think that Florida could give them a run for their money.
Well, this is how rivalries are created, Tradon. I guess it's the one thing we could give the NHL credit for this year. It's if they did one thing right.
It's putting Florida and Tampa Bay in a series. I mean, think about it. You get a better rest because you're not traveling quite as far. It's going to be such a great series.
Think of how many fans are going to be there. It's Florida.
It'd be so much fun. Florida would have a problem, but Tampa Bay wouldn't. So, moving on to my fourth one. This is just a little bit of, I guess, housekeeping issues with the NHL. The Scotia North Division is currently mulling over options for its playoffs, mostly because, in those last couple rounds, assuming that the winner goes on to the Stanley Cup final, the teams would have to travel to Canada. The American teams would have to travel to Canada. And due to the Canadian border, shut down to the Americans, and, even though the NHL got a shortened quarantine period because of COVID, it's still been quite strict, and it would almost make it impossible for it to be a viable situation unless the Canadian government, gave the NHL an exception. So a bubble is being considered for the North playoffs, a bubble here in the United States. So Tyler, first of all, do you think this is a viable option? I guess I'm gonna start there.
If the border restrictions don't get lifted, I think it's unfortunately probably their only option. Not their only option, but it's probably the best option. It's not ideal because you want to play in your home arena with potentially a few fans there. So it really suck for the fans not to be able to see their team in the playoffs. I mean, that you don't want that. Ideally, you want to be in your home arena, but it's all going to come down to what Canada decides on the restrictions at the border. That's what's going to come down to. It's probably going to come down to the very last minute. I'm assuming they're probably talking with, government officials about this, hopefully to get an exception like you mentioned. So I hope it doesn't come to the U.S. bubble, and I hope that they can play in Canada because, as a fan, if I was in a situation, get a chance to go to a playoff game for my team, like I'm going to want to do that. So for all the Canadian fans up there, I hope that it happens. I hope those the restrictions get lifted one way or another. But if it doesn't, I think they're going to have to do a U.S. bubble.
Yeah,
I just have to.
I agree with you. And, unfortunately, for the longest time, we were saying how Canada is doing amazing at keeping the COVID out. That is not the case right now. They are way worse than us right now. And to be fair, it's also a lot has to do with the vaccine rollout. But they I don't even think if I talked to my family, they would even think about going into an arena. Like they couldn't even fathom that idea. And the Ducks are having fans, San Jose is having fans. Like it's a completely different, or the Warriors had fans. Like it's completely different here. So I to your point, I think that they're going to be, and I think it's going to end up in a bubble inevitably. And I think that it's going to end up early. Like it's going to end up the first round. Like they're going to be coming down early. So my question for you is, there's not going to be any quarantine period. They're just going to be able to set up shop. And I'm not sure how strict the bubble will even be compared to last time. Like I don't like here in the United States, it's going to be, it's much different unless the NHL has its own protocols. But where would you set up shop for the North Division?
I think you go to wherever state is allowing the most fans, which probably Texas. So if Dallas doesn't make the playoffs, go to Dallas.
Okay. I like that idea. I think, but so what if they do?
What if they go to Dallas?
Yeah. No. What if Dallas does make it and they can't really support that?
Yeah. Then obviously you couldn't go to Dallas. So whatever there's no other second team in Dallas. So I don't know. I don't know what the
Go to
state
San
restrictions are
Antonio.
off the top of my head, but probably some.
Why
maybe,
can't you just convert a stadium? Like take AT&T Stadium and convert it into
there you go.
rink.
You
That's-
Go to Arizona.
You could go to Arizona. Here's the issue with Arizona right now, guys. Here's a crazy stat. So they're allowing 50% capacity at Arizona games, and they're not selling the 50% capacity.
Because the Coyotes suck.
because
I mean, well, the issue is the location of the rink is not very good for the people in the city. So I don't know how many fans would go there, but I think that's a good idea in terms of like the restrictions being lifted. I think that Arizona is probably next to Texas is probably the best. You can't go to Florida because both teams are making it. That's not a viable option.
or do you
go to LA?
Like a
Go to LA,
a northern state.
If I could see the Oilers play a playoff game during COVID, first of all, my family would hate me, and two, I don't even give a shit because I get to see the Oilers play.
I mean, you got two stadiums. The teams are not going to make the playoffs.
It's true.
Restrictions are lifted.
Yeah,
it's true. It's very true.
I'd go to a game
Center,
on
the Honda Center, whatever the fuck it's called.
I think you could put two teams in, do two teams in one and two teams in the other.
Two teams in the other.
You
Done.
We
figured it out.
Figured it out.
You're welcome,
I think
Gary
the Honda
Bench.
Center is way more usable though, because
100%.
Staples Center use it for basketball too.
100%.
And so there's less work to be done at the Honda Center versus Staples.
That's true. And they're going to be playing every other day anyway, so I think it would be fun.
Maybe the Lakers and Clippers both in the playoffs at the same time, or coming down to that point. So
yeah. My last option or idea would be Buffalo.
SoFi, there you go.
And the reason I say Buffalo is they do this survey every single year, and of all the hockey watchers for hockey playoffs that aren't for fans that are not, their teams are not in the playoffs, Buffalo by far has the biggest viewership of hockey because their team's never in the playoffs, but they have the biggest viewership for hockey. They have a very strong hockey fan base there. And I think it would be kind of cool to give them the opportunity to express that and actually go see playoff hockey because they're never going to see it.
Oh, that's brutal.
unless they take the trip to the city, and I don't think they really want to do that. So that's just another option, but it's interesting. We'll keep everybody updated. That's all I got, guys. Hockey, it's coming down to the wire last few weeks here.
Yeah, thank you, Tradon. Before we end, I'm going to endorse Tyler for fantasy hockey champion.
Oh,
I'm throwing that out there.
They beat you last year. All right.
One, because James cheated to win last year because the season ended and he just happened to be in first place.
How did I cheat that?
I don't know. You cheated. Don't worry about it. And because he beat me this year, so I'm endorsing Tyler as fantasy hockey champion.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Down by 200.
Down by 200. The comeback will be real.
Yep.
Other than that, thank you guys for listening. If you enjoy it, please, give us a review, rate us, give us a like, hit us up on all the social media platforms except for Facebook, because we won't respond to that one. Other than that, again, thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time.